Welcome to Soul and Synergy Radio. Soul and Synergy Radio is dedicated to exploring the mysteries of the universe and our place in it. Your hosts, Terry and Danny, are the owners of Soul and Synergy LLC, based in Eau Claire, Wisconsin. Each week, they will be delving into topics that are part of the metaphysical and paranormal world, along with spiritual practices that help us connect with our higher selves and tap into the energy of the cosmos. The show will feature interviews with members of the metaphysical and paranormal community, sharing their knowledge and insights with their listeners. Whether you're new to this world or an experienced seeker, Soul and Synergy has something for everyone. Now, your hosts, Terry Flick and Danny Loosemore.
Hello, everyone.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning from Ashland, Wisconsin.
Yes, welcome to Soul and Synergy Radio here on WLTK-DB Talk Radio.
Yeah, welcome. Hey, you might remember me from Monday nights, Be the Change, Christina Bloom.
Yeah, we have Christina, and then we also have Angela here with us.
Hello. Yay.
She's up here helping us with the show that's happening tomorrow. It's going to be a wonderful, busy show.
So Angela works for us at the store once in a while, and she also is a Reiki master, one of my students. But she has a little story of her life and how we've changed our story or changed our life as we've come down the journey. Do you want to share any of that?
Where do I start?
Yeah, right.
I think I really shook up my life about a year ago. I was on jury duty and decided, wow, I was 3 days away from work and it felt really good. Things started opening up and I went back to work and I said, you know what? After this year, I'm going to be done. And I quit, sold my house, and I moved up to the North Woods. And I came into, things that I had been hiding from a majority of my life since I was a little girl, and forgot just some of the things that really brought my soul joy. And so I joined Reiki, started reading some bones and working with essential oils and leading women's empowerment camps. And now I'm here with you guys in Ashland.
And you're in massage therapy school.
Oh, that's right. I'm in massage therapy school too. So hopefully to bring a whole other level of healing to those.
I want to hear about reading bones.
It's something that I did when I was younger with like acorns and rocks and stones and feathers. And then I had an amazing opportunity to join a class and taught by River. And he introduced bones and something inside just clicked. And it, with certain people, like with tarot and everything, they just speak to me and show me signs. It's animal bones and parts of the animals, all ethically sourced and found. And I just tap into those animal characteristics of each bone and, and the intuition that I get from other people that are sitting in front of me. Pretty wild.
That is pretty wild.
Yeah.
I've never met anyone who does that before. That's cool.
Really?
Yeah, in 22 years of doing this. Before.
Yeah.
Did you bring your kit with?
I might have. I usually I don't go far without it. So.
Okay. Cool. Maybe we can throw some bones tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So for the show today, we have three other guests joining us. We have, Char from Charvinity. She'll be joining us around 10:30, and then Melissa from Lighting the Fire, a life coach and lifting people up into their own power and whatnot. She'll be joining us at 11, and then Patty Hugh will be here at 11:30 to kind of help us round out the show. But otherwise, you got our lovely faces in the meantime.
Yeah.
So anyway, we really love Ashland. The energy up here is wonderful. We have Lake Superior right behind us. Terry would be showing you Lake Superior right now, except it's too bright and they'd get all washed out. But we love coming up here because the power of the lake and the beauty of it is just amazing. And the crowds up here are just wonderful as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, me and Christina were talking about earlier, because we are sitting in the conference room for where the fair is going to be tomorrow, and we have the beautiful view. Even though Lake Superior is frozen over, the energy is still amazing here.
Well,
So-
Chequamegon Bay is frozen over, not the whole lake.
Well, that's true, yeah. So this water is frozen.
This right in front of us.
Yeah, but it is, and it is still like we're just like, if we drift off and you lose us on the screen, well, that's why, because
Yeah,
we're
'cause we
over
just
there.
went over there to the lake and just kind of got drawn into it.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, that way. Yeah. So
Yeah.
but
It really doesn't matter if it's winter or summer. It's all
does.
rather beautiful and rather powerful. And
Yeah.
the energies up here are they just make you want to move here sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and you know, we talk about different types of energies. I'm talking about the energy of water alone. You know, that was something Patty Q brought in, and maybe we can talk to her more about it in that half hour. But how energy can transmute and transport things for us.
Mhm.
I mean, how water can. So, you know, we talk about taking a shower and cleansing all the old energies off in the morning and things like that. So, I mean, just sticking my feet in the water makes such a difference. You can just feel everything just drop right out of you.
Yeah, it's amazing. And in tarot, cups are kind of associated with water, and water is all about emotion and dealing with emotions and working through them. So that's another aspect of it as well.
Can you guys feel, like when I was driving up yesterday and it was dark, but I knew I could feel that I was close to the lake.
Mhm.
There was like that, you just, you know,
Yeah.
same thing when you're getting close to an ocean.
Mhm.
Yeah.
My whole body, I was like, it's right there. I just knew.
Yeah,
Yeah. I
because
can
Lake
feel it.
Superior is an ocean.
Mhm.
You know, it
Fresh
feels
water,
like,
but yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
it
I
really
think-
feels like it.
And then even more, like when we go up to Copper Harbor up in the UP of Michigan, when you have it on both sides of you going up through, that is truly amazing. It's like,
Yeah. It is.
It's a peninsula within a peninsula. It's a rather wonderful feeling, and they have a really great place up there in Copper Harbor called Brockway Mountain, and you go on up top of Brockway Mountain, and it's a 360-degree view of the lake and all of that as well. I
Yeah,
grew
we
up on
can-
Lake Superior. I am from the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, and you take it for granted when you're growing up by it because you see it all the time, you're using it all the time, and then when I moved to Wisconsin and was landlocked, I was like, I miss my lake.
Mhm.
Yeah. And there's something just really magical about Lake Superior. I mean, I've seen all of the Great Lakes, I think, except for Huron. I don't think I've seen that one, but there's something special about Lake Superior. There's just something magical about it that I don't feel in the other Great Lakes. Not that they're not beautiful, they are, but it's different.
Mhm.
It definitely is different.
It's different. There's a magic here that with this lake that is just special.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that for me, I've had times where I've asked the spirit of the lake, Gitchayumi, you know, and that's kind of what it's called, and kind of asking the spirit of the lake to take things from me when I needed it to be
Yeah.
gone, and to kind of hold it, and I kind of picture it in this big ice block at the bottom of Lake Superior. You know? And
I did something similar. Yeah.
yeah, the lake is so clear, you can see right down to the bottom of the lake. Not in in
Certain depths.
in certain depths, yeah. But yeah, you can just see right down, and it's just amazing.
Yeah.
So we're very fortunate to be having a fair up here with the people in the area.
Mhm.
Yeah, we are. I would just like to give a shout out to the chat room, because the chat room is, you guys come on and you expose yourselves here where you don't have to. So I just want to say hi to Phoenix, Kat, and Sherry. Thanks for joining us this morning.
That's
Glad
definitely.
you're here.
Are we getting? Oh yeah, we are getting the YouTube stuff in. Okay.
Yep.
Yep. So So yeah, and with having Patty Q on at the end of the show, kind of keep in mind some questions you might have. She has some really great ways of sharing messages, and of course, all four of us may have something at any point in time during the show. So I know that when Terry starts to stutter, he has spirit coming through, and he's going to have to speak his mind at some point.
It happens. Yep.
Yeah.
And we like that.
Yes.
So we had a really great experience up here the last time we were here. That was, when was that?
Last
September. Okay. Where we started to do channeling and healings right in the middle of the room with the people that were coming in.
Oh yeah.
An individual came in that needed some healing, and Terry went out into the middle of the room with her and started doing Reiki, and then another person joined, Stephanie from the radio show, went out and lended her energy to the whole thing, and people just gathered. It was just an amazing feeling. And Jody Hemingway, who will be here tomorrow, joined in on the thing, and it's just a great community kind of feling.
Yeah, Phoenix is heading out soon to join us. So
yes, that's true. Salone, heading out soon.
Yeah, well, hi, Shell.
Yeah, hopefully we all can kind of get together tonight as we're setting up and all of that for the big day. Mary Phipps, forgive me if I say that wrong. Good day. I was in a group chat with Pete and Deb last evening.
Hi, Mary. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
So we're going to be talking a lot about empowerment and kind of life coaching and Reiki and whatnot. And Reiki for us is kind of a big thing, as even a part of our business, with Terry doing the Reiki energy healing, and how interesting it is how people come into the store, and they're just so trusting right from the get-go, and allowing us to help them, and they're vulnerable, and it's a great feeling to be able to give them what they need when all is said and done. Yeah. Oh, thank you, Mary.
You said her name perfectly.
Yay!
I think my glasses are darkening from the.
I think mine are too. Well, my face is pretty dark, but that's okay.
Yeah. So I'm not sure why we're going to go there, but we're going to go to talking about subconscious or unconscious mind or subconscious mind, and hypnosis. So I just want to put a little thing out there. I had a lady come into the store the other day, and actually it was yesterday, and we were talking about different things, and she was just a beautiful soul, and she would come in, and then she would go back out to her van and sit for a little bit, and she was waiting for somebody she was giving a ride to, and then she would come back in, and she'd go back out, and we were talking back and forth, and gaining the trust of people is just an amazing thing. But we were talking about hypnosis and stuff, and how it can help clear blocks, and quit smoking, lose weight, anxiety, stress. It can help relieve all those things. But even just clearing the blocks within that, people have to understand that when you're working on the outside of the physical part of the body, the subconscious is still back there going, hey, this doesn't feel right. We're not doing this. We're going to fight this all the way. So if you're really struggling, I guess is what I want to say. If you're really struggling and trying and working on yourself so hard and you just feel like you're getting nowhere, try a hypnosis session to remove some of those blocks, and have the hypnotist, I guess is the word for it, help remove those blocks and open those channels up for you. So
hypnosis can be a really powerful thing. And I just want to say, for people who people with a lot of pride will tell me I can't be hypnotized. And I'm like, I don't think that's something to be proud of, first of all, because when you are being hypnotized, you're in control. Mm-hmm. And I think a lot of people don't understand that. They've seen movies or shows or whatever where a hypnotist is making fun of people and, makes them cluck like a chicken or whatever. Mm-hmm. But it's a choice. It's a choice. You can choose not to be hypnotized and then just hold your energy back. But if you give yourself permission to do that, you're the one in charge. And if it's done correctly, you've already given instructions to the person who's guiding you in order to do that. And I just think it's such an important thing for people to know that it's a powerful tool and you're in charge of it.
Yeah.
And so there's nothing to be afraid of when it comes to hypnosis.
Yeah. Christina and I both do hypnosis,
Yeah.
and we can do it in person or distant. We can do it on Zoom. We can, it isn't something that you have to travel for,
Right.
but I think it is a trust thing.
It is a trust thing.
you
Yeah.
know. So,
Yeah.
I mean,
And I think you can have more trust when you know you're in control.
yeah, for sure.
Definitely. Hi, Kevin.
And the people that say they can't be hypnotized, I have not had a problem getting anybody under.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when I do it, and I'm sure you do it as well, I when I have them in person, at least, they lay on the table and I prop them a little bit, but I wrap them in a blanket so they're like in a cocoon so they feel safe.
Okay.
And then I do Reiki on them
Okay.
before I actually do the hypnosis part of it. And
Yeah, I had not thought to do that.
yeah, so just getting the energy balanced from
That's a
foot
good
to
idea.
head, I mean foot to toe, foot to head.
Foot to head.
Yes. And then, just
Yeah.
allowing that energy to relax them even more. It's much easier to get them to drop in. So,
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Oh, Kevin must be from Ashland. Welcome back to Ashland.
Yeah.
Oh, so awesome. Hopefully we'll see him tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks for joining. Oh, hey, Diana. Thank you for coming on to the show.
Yeah.
I think the subconscious itself plays a big role in all of our lives anyway.
Oh, yeah.
I know that, those little voices in your head that you hear that tell you what to do and when to do it and all of that and kind of argue with you when you're trying to do something that goes against your personal norms and morals and all of that. That's a subconscious speaking to you saying, hey, wait a minute, this isn't something we believe in.
Mhm.
We believe in this and why are you doing this in this direction kind of a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and your subconscious and your ego to a point is all about keeping you safe.
Mm-hmm.
And keeping you safe for the subconscious is keeping you in the norm. So if the norm has always been, I've been beat, and that's my norm. So the subconscious keeps drawing you back into those situations. So when we do the hypnosis and release those things, it wakes it up and going, wait a minute, this isn't safe anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And we can remove those things. So you can move on with your journey. And
yeah. And the subconscious holds on to your belief systems.
Yep.
And especially when people are moving into the metaphysical arena, it can be a hindrance or a hurdle stopping them from kind of moving forward with working with energy or anything like that, because the subconscious says, no, we only see that happening on TV. That can actually be happening for real.
Mhm.
And it isn't until you prove to the subconscious that, hey, look what I did,
Mhm.
that it starts to open up and go, okay, let's see what else we can do.
Right.
And then it takes it on as part of a gift.
Right.
But it takes a long time to convince the subconscious to release that programming of we're just people and we can't do these kinds of things.
Right.
It's especially important, at least when I do tarot or even for people who are mediums or whatnot, to trust yourself that when you're getting information and you're just spewing it out of your mouth, that it isn't a lie, it isn't fake, it isn't made up and all of that, because you go through that at the beginning going, am I a fraud? Am I
Imposter syndrome
Yeah.
kind of.
right?
Yeah.
Totally.
Imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. And then once you realize and get that feedback from the people you're reading for that say, hey, that was wonderful, you got spot on and all those wonderful comments, it's just like that helps to reiterate to your subconscious that you're doing the right thing and it's okay to do these things.
Absolutely.
For
Yeah.
sure. Yeah. Yeah, it is hard, especially getting, I mean, our veteran in the room here,
Yeah.
we were just talking about that today. 22 years?
22 years.
You've been doing this?
I've been doing this. Yeah.
So, and I'm,
Yeah.
6 years, basically.
Yeah.
But still, it is that, and I think subconscious and ego play a role in that. Mr. Ego, he really needs to be shut down and shut down hard.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes, but I think I have never been a proponent of getting rid of the ego. I've never supported that
Mhm.
because our ego is our personality. And if we didn't have our personalities, how would we tell one of us from the other?
Right.
I agree
You know,
with that part of it. Yeah.
I don't think that I just don't think that we should try to eliminate that part of ourselves, because it doesn't make sense to me. On the other hand, sometimes it does need to be kept in check. I mean, like,
Yes.
you know, that little temper tantrum part of us really needs to be kept in check.
Yeah.
But I don't think it needs to be eliminated. And I've never believed that it should be, because we
No,
have
right.
it for a reason.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, and especially from a psychology standpoint, where the ego stands as a shield in front of your subconscious, because your subconscious is so easily swayed by suggestion
Hmm.
that if you don't have an ego in front of it shielding it, saying, you know, that isn't me or whatnot, you start to believe the silliest things.
Oh, yeah.
And you start to believe the gaslighting from a narcissist. You start believing all of these things that people are saying to you, because you have no self-image when you don't have an ego. But when you have an
Right.
ego in front of it saying, you know, no, I am not the things you're saying that I am, it protects the subconscious from being exposed to it to believe it.
Absolutely.
I agree.
Absolutely. And I feel like also the ego can stand to be, and suspicious isn't the word I'm looking for. Like not believing everything 100%, you know, and in the paranormal field, in the spiritual field, I see where people go into like 3 different camps. So there are the ones who believe absolutely everything without ever questioning anything. And then you have the ones who don't believe anything, regardless
Right.
of what they see, hear, feel, or experience. And then you have the ones in the middle that go, all right, let's add some logic into this. And I feel like in the spiritual realm, like that's where we need to be as physical beings, is in that middle space.
Mhm.
And I think what the ego does is it keeps us from going way over to one side where it's like, I believe just absolutely everything.
Yeah. Yeah. The ego provides discernment.
Discernment, that's the word. Thank you.
Yeah. It
Yeah.
allows you to use your intelligence to determine, hey, you know, this isn't really happening, or allows you to say, you know what, beyond a shadow of a doubt, this is happening.
Yeah.
And it's sometimes really nice to, when you get the feedback, even for you when you do readings,
Mhm.
you know, that you hit it on the nail on the head, that at least provides you with the additional ammunition for the subconscious to say, yeah, we really are making a difference. Let's keep going with this.
Yeah, absolutely. And I have learned doing readings, when something comes out of my mouth, the weirder it sounds, the more true it seems to be.
Yes.
Mhm. Oh, I agree. I agree.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. Hi, Stephanie. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah. And, you know, so I struggle with ego back and forth, because I know where I came from, and I know how my life was in the past. And, you know, I was, you know, even we talked about this, me and you have talked about this
Oh,
on
yeah.
several occasions,
Several
but,
occasions.
you know, me and Danny talked about this last week on the show about the car thing. You know, is it my ego telling me I don't deserve that new car? Things like that, you know,
Yeah.
and I really think it is, because I've traded down again. So, but, you know, we did
And you
that.
didn't have to. Oh
I
my
didn't
God.
have to, no, but I did. And I mean, I like my Pathfinder. It's a good car. It just is it's a thing for me that I'm hoping there'll be a point in my life when I can drive the Escalade without feeling guilty. You know?
Well, if you don't want to drive it, hand it over.
Yeah, right.
No kidding.
You know,
Yeah.
and that's a topic that's been discussed on a lot of different other programs, is light workers' guilt.
Yeah.
It's us feeling as though we have to kind of not have all the gifts that are out there that the universe wants to provide to us, because we shouldn't have all of that, because not everybody has it. So, and there's even courses on how to work through light workers' guilt, so that you can manifest for yourself all the things you want for other people, and you can have it for yourself too, because there's no reason why you can't.
Right.
You know, especially if you're like Abraham Hicks or Esther Hicks says, you know, you put it into your vortex and you can have what you want, and you have to sit in a place of already having it for it to be attracted to you, and not feeling guilty about it, you know. And it's just too bad that we're indoctrinated at such a young age that we have to live in a state of lack, and
Right.
not,
Well, right.
Yeah.
The poor preachers, right? Because preachers shouldn't have money. Light workers shouldn't have money. Psychics shouldn't have money, because if they do, then they're frauds. And that's something that we've been fed over and over and over and over for
Right.
how long now? And so many of us have incorporated it. And like the last 10 years of my life have been getting out of that,
Mm-hmm.
working my way out of that, because a weak ego is just as dangerous for us as a strong ego is.
Right. Right.
So
It's
keeping that ego in check.
Yeah.
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 right. And I think when everything balances, when you're in a good place mentally, you're able to manifest such amazing things in such a short period of time. It's just when you feel strongly one way or the other that there's interference or static
Mhm.
in your
Mhm.
manifestation.
Right.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Okay.
Absolutely.
That was
Wow.
a good topic.
That was a
Yeah,
fast 25 minutes.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Oh, geez. And we have Char waiting in the wings, and
Yeah.
we'll get to her in just a minute. But just a couple of other things I wanted to mention is that I have Tarot Masterclass starting in not next week or the week after. Terry's grabbing his phone and he's going to check it.
I'm going to go to the calendar.
Mr.
Yeah, going to go to the
Calendar.
calendar. And that's an 8-week course. It's beginners can take it, and that's kind of really what it's aimed at, where you learn about the tarot deck, the meanings, how to do readings, how to do spreads, how to get yourself ready for having your own tarot business, and doing practice and labs along with the course itself, so you get enough practice in with strangers or clients or whatever. And it's going to be 8 weeks, and it's a really kind of all the courses are all packed in rather well with a bunch of great information, and it's 2 hours a night, and it's going to be available on Zoom as well.
Okay.
That's awesome.
So next week at the store, and if anybody wants to get our newsletter out there, just shoot us an email at soulandsynergy@gmail.com. We'll get you on the list. But Monday night I'm teaching Monday night. I'm teaching Energy 101. So basically what I'm going to be doing is teaching you how to feel energy both inside and out. I change the energy of the space. I bring in all different types of materials to feel. And then Danny's masterclass starts on Tuesday. So next Tuesday, the 21st.
Mm-hmm.
And it's available on Zoom.
And I have it available on Zoom as well.
Yep.
I like that.
Yeah. So when people register, they'll get the Zoom link.
Yep.
And I tested it out for Beginners Tarot last week, and it worked out rather well.
Really?
Yeah. I was able to show the PowerPoint over it and see the people and have people in the room at the same time. It just worked out really well.
So,
Nice.
And then Wednesday night is astrology with Rachel Ellie, and she will be doing Zoom with that one. Everything is going on Zoom. Start Seed class with Craig is on Thursday. It's a packed weekend or week next week. And then, of course, the show next Friday. So,
Wow. And I just a shout out to Danny that Phoenix took the master class and it was awesome.
Yes. I had a really big class for the last master class, and everybody did so wonderfully. And they opened themselves up so quickly, and they were doing spot on readings right away. And quite a few of my students have now gone out and started their own businesses, like Salone and Fran and Mary. And
That's amazing.
yeah, everybody's kind of into it now, and it's just a great gateway drug to get into the metaphysical field.
it is. Well, and then you add your Reiki to it too, because look at all the Reiki masters you have on the screen right now. All 4 of us are Reiki
Right.
masters.
Right.
You know, and speaking of, next Sunday, I am teaching level 2, Reiki 2. So,
Okay.
yeah.
All right. Well, we are at the bottom of the hour, and we have a guest waiting for us in the wing. So let's take a little break, and then we will welcome her to the show.
Awesome.
Kristen's going to be here by herself. Welcome back.
Hello, welcome back.
I'll be here by myself while Terry takes a potty break.
Right.
Yeah.
We were just talking. I said, Todd doesn't even give me 30 seconds to run the bathroom anymore.
Yeah, I know. Welcome back, everyone, to Soul and Synergy Radio on WLTK-DB. We have a wonderful guest on next, Char, who is with Charvinity. And she will be coming on to talk about herself, her business, her journey, and anything else along the way. So let's bring Char out to the show.
And also, someone wants to know what the topic is for today.
The topic for today is taking the road less traveled, which is
Ooh.
talking about us in the metaphysical world. So,
Awesome.
well, welcome to the show.
Good morning.
Hi, Char.
How are you guys?
Oh, it's a beautiful day in Ashland.
It is. It's gorgeous
It's
here.
sunny here, finally.
Yeah, you can see the sun coming in the windows here.
Kind of blinding off
Yeah.
all the snow.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But welcome to the show. Thank you so much for being here. I was kind of going through your website and going through the information there and saw some great opportunities for some topics to talk on the radio show with. So just if you want to start out, tell the audience about yourself and how you got to where you are today.
Okay. Well, my name is Char Savoie, and I am the owner of Charvinity, which is my own company that I built. I also recently just purchased the Metamorphosis Connection, so that I have that as well. So I own both of them. I actually started off in a really odd way of coming about my gifts. I started off being super terrified of all this and just dove in to get past that and became a paranormal investigator. And then shortly after that, started meeting a bunch of people, worked in a haunted location, and then had psychics and mediums telling me I had gifts. And I'm like, you people are crazy. But eventually the spirits at the location were like, okay, we'll show her. And also I'm like, why are they talking to me? So, I kind of came about it in a really backwards way. But when I think about my childhood, I'm like, yeah, that was there. I just didn't. I think that's why I was so terrified, because I didn't understand it. Mm-hmm. So I am a psychic medium. I am an energy worker, Reiki master, and teacher. I teach a lot of different metaphysical classes. My favorite one is my empath class, where I help empaths understand where they are with their energy and what's happening with them and mentor them through that. And it's an ongoing mentorship. It never ends. So they take the class and I'm with them forever. We have an online support group that's private for everybody that took the class, and we're actually having our first retreat this weekend.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah, so that's me in a nutshell, I guess.
Yeah, the topic that you brought up on being an empath is something that everybody talks about. You hear that it's kind of a word that's kind of ubiquitous out there, where I'm an empath and that type of a thing. And one of the things that's very difficult is learning how to shield yourself.
Absolutely. Yeah, we're just like little energy sponges. We just suck up all the energy wherever we go, and we don't even realize we're doing it sometimes. So learning how to understand that, not only your energy, but other people's energies, and how to work with, how to shield yourself and clear that, and like do more protections and boundaries. And because empaths also want to be those healers. They want to go ahead and take care of everybody. They want to just like solve the problems of all the world, and they forget to take care of themselves, and they end up with a lot of health issues too. So it can be a lot for an empath. And these last couple of years have really been really tough for empaths.
Yeah,
I would agree with that. And I think the one thing that I learned throughout all of the time that I've been doing this is that if we learn how to use empathy as a tool, and we understand what it is, and we start feeling something, then we look around and we go, okay, that wasn't mine. Where did it come from?
Right.
Thank you for the information, and then release it right away. It's a whole lot easier on us when we can
Absolutely.
do that.
But that's a process that takes a while to let that sink in and get there. And, even for me, my empathness throughout my life really I took a lot on, and I had a lot of health issues from it. But now that I'm a psychic medium, I use it during that process and during energy healings to feel what's happening, to feel with the spirits. But then I know it's not mine and I can release it. So not everybody has to go that same path, but understanding that you can still use it. You just need to use it in a way that works, that's not harming you or taking you down. So trying to get people, to kind of switch that, because a lot of empaths are caregivers. They take care of people.
Right.
They're nurses, veterinarians, and they do all of that if you want to, but letting them know you can still do all that. You just don't need to carry it with you everywhere you go.
Absolutely.
And and when we teach Reiki, we teach what that means. If you're working on a client and all of a sudden you get this emotion, and if you tune into it a little bit, because you really should tune into it a little bit, because it's telling you something. It's a
Absolutely.
message. But like Christina said, we need to let it go.
Yep.
Because most empaths don't know how to let that part happen.
Yep, absolutely. And I've really tried to incorporate the empaths learning Reiki 1 just for themselves, because it's that self-healing, and it really has been beneficial for some of them that have learned that and kind of went through that process. So it does kind of go hand in hand with being an empath, at least Reiki 1, at least. You know?
Yep. Absolutely.
So what's the best way to shield yourself? I mean, what do you teach your students the basics of shielding?
We go through several techniques of like grounding and like putting up, I tell them whatever works for you. Because I don't I can't tell one specific thing for like 100 people, because it doesn't make sense to everybody. So everybody has to pick what works for them. So, putting a bubble around you, putting armor on you, a cloak around you. Some people put like a whole armor of like a knight shield around them. I prefer to put myself in one of those big bubbles that you can get in and run around on the grass with, just rolling all around. So everything's just going to bounce off of me in that thing. So whatever it is that you can do that before you go in somewhere, and then hold all that energy inside of it. That's your space, and if you have to get close to people, maybe wait till you can move a little farther around them down an aisle or something. Just, that's your bubble. Keep your bubble. Don't let people in your bubble, and then we talk a lot about keeping something in your car. So when you get back out to your car, maybe it's a crystal, or maybe you have Florida water or something that you can kind of cleanse and get all that energy off of you once you leave. So lots of different ways. Another really good thing for empaths too, and this is like, it works and it seems really silly, but wearing a hat, covering up that third eye and that crown chakra from receiving any of that information. Wear a hat wherever you go. Sometimes it just kind of caps it off for you.
Yeah, we have a friend that when she walks in and she has her hat on, we know exactly what's going on.
Yep. Absolutely. Yep.
Okay, I was just going to jump in here. We have a Facebook user asking, what age did you realize you have a gift of mediumship?
Oh, God, I got to think about how old I am. Math. I didn't realize it until I was in my 40s. I mean, it took a long time. I mean, I had little things happening, but nobody would talk about it. So I just assumed I had an active imagination, Okay. And so it wasn't until I went and worked at the haunted location, and all of a sudden I was meeting people, they were explaining it and talking about it. And then I was immersed in this place that had spirits that wanted to talk to me. And it just kind of all cracked wide open. There was no simple. This was like, boom, here you go.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I think that's a really difficult when all of a sudden, and that happened to me at 40. I mean, it's like someone took the curtains down and it was just full on, information and all that. It's like, how do you know you're not going crazy?
Right.
And
You don't.
And it's kind of weeding through that. And kind of like we were saying earlier with Christina, if you have a strong ego, you're able to get through it, because then you can logically say, I'm not going crazy. This information is coming to me. You question it, you kind of move forward, and then more information comes. It's just a cycle until you get used to it.
And surround yourself with a community of, people that are going to support and, help you through it.
That is really key. Yeah, that is really key, Angela.
Yeah.
I think absolutely. And it was kind of one of those moments where a tower moment in tarot, that tower card just went bam, here we go. Your whole life is changing. But at the same time, it was really reassuring. I'm like, oh my God, this is who I am. This is the person I've been searching for my whole entire life. I finally feel like me, so it was good at the same time, even though everything seemed to explode.
I think I've been very fortunate, because I didn't come into this until after I met Danny. And Danny had already started his journey in his 40 with all the stuff that went down with him, because he was open wide, you know. And so he's been my shield, my protector, my whatever, so I don't have to go through what he went through. And I can feel him doing that.
You're gonna make me cry.
I know.
Aw. I love that though. I know, and that's awesome when you have somebody there that can help you and is there to do that for you. That really makes a huge difference.
Yeah.
It does. Yeah, absolutely. I wish I'd had that.
Me too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was really cool. Well, that was a little emotional. Well, that was interesting.
Yeah.
Yay.
You good?
I'm good.
All
We'll
right.
just
What do
keep
you
going.
offer your classes? Do you do it on Zoom or in person or?
I do both. I do a lot of Zoom, but I do in person. I just have a new space that I'm doing stuff in, so I'm so excited about that. It's just an office, but it has an office and a classroom. So, and I'm sharing it with my dear friend Sandy, and so we finally have a space where we can do in-person healings, readings, and classes, and we do galleries every month. So, I'm really excited that I finally have a home that I can do stuff in. So, and that's located in Anoka, Minnesota.
Okay.
I forget you guys are in Wisconsin.
Yeah.
And this goes out worldwide. So yeah, it's
Right.
good to identify where you are.
Right.
Yeah. We've had people from Belgium and Ireland and
Really?
watching the show. So yeah,
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
out. And it's also recorded as a podcast, so on 9 different networks. So anybody can grab onto it.
Congratulations.
Yeah, this has been a rather wonderful addition to our menu of services.
Good. Awesome. Well, and you guys are wonderful. I'm so excited to get to come and do some of your events this year. I'm just looking forward to it. So I'm like, yay.
Yeah.
Yes, it's wonderful for us to be able to, or I guess I should say, we're blessed to be able to do that for people, for the communities and for the vendors to come together and do that. And Terry works so tirelessly on all this stuff. It's hard to pry him out of his office chair to get him to come home.
Yeah.
Events that take a lot of planning. So I
Yeah.
get it.
Yeah. And we're at, what are we at, 20 so far planned for this year? So yeah.
Yeah, so a lot of opportunities for vendors to come on and do their thing.
Vendors and for people that may not have had that support come in,
Right.
you know,
Yeah.
find us.
So another question I had for you, and kind of something I ask a lot of our guests, is that in this year in particular, energies are feeling really weird, and it's like something that hasn't come to pass in a while. Do you have any thoughts on what this year is bringing, or any kind of feelings you're getting?
Well, I am not an astrologist. I do follow it, but I'm not by any means an astrologist. But it does make a lot of sense to me. We're in like a karmic cycle right now, like a 3-year karmic cycle. Can't remember what the placement is, so that's where the astrology part goes away. But we are in a 3-year karmic cycle. So there are some things that people are going to have to deal with this year, whether good or bad. It doesn't, either one. It's just a karma thing. So things are just kind of come to light this year, I feel. Like things are starting to really kind of unravel, be unveiled, both good and bad, whatever, however you want. I don't like saying good or bad, but it makes sense when I say it that way. So I just think there's a lot of things that are going to happen, but I also feel like this is a good year of like, since the last couple of years, since like 2020, we're finally gaining traction. Like we're starting to kind of climb out of that and start going forward a little bit. But I think it's kind of the year is what you make it. This is kind of where the karma comes in. Either you're going to like put yourself out there and propel yourself in what you need to do and you're going to go. But if you don't, you're going to get stuck. So I think even though it feels like you're still kind of climbing through that mud a little bit, just keep going and pushing forward and put it all out there.
Yeah. It feels like, and you're probably the same thing you're saying is like a building year.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Plant all the seeds.
Yeah.
Yep, that's what we're doing. Like here we are here and doing all these things, because that's what I keep getting told is get going, get moving, put it out there, because 2024 is going to kick your butt if you don't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been seeing the same
Absolutely.
messages.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't know that Spirit knew technology or Facebook, but they keep telling me, okay, now go and boost that, go and do that. It's just like, I guess you understand what that means.
Well, and
Energies,
they
energy.
tap into what we're doing, and they just know, like, you understand this. If I tell you this, you understand it, you know? So,
Yeah.
and I feel like they're really kind of trying to push, especially the light workers and people in that realm, to really kind of get out there. I feel like our light needs to shine very bright this year.
Mhm.
Yep.
Yes.
There is a question for Char.
Sure.
Are you familiar with any Goodwin or Braunschweig? I don't know if I said that right. Browns.
Danny?
I don't know.
It doesn't sound
Their
familiar.
last names.
Oh, their last names. She was
Yeah.
just,
Yeah, they're their last names. Yeah.
but I guess not.
No.
But yeah, with the shining our light and then that topic, it's like we're all getting called into like this army to kind
Yes.
of keep moving forward and doing all of this. And it's interesting to see the type of clients we get, the type of people that I read for, the customers that come into our shops. They're all looking for answers.
Yeah.
And they're all trying to find their way. I had a customer yesterday come in, say, the night before she dreamt that she was reading tarot cards. She had never read a tarot card in her life, but she had a dream about it, and she thought, well, maybe I need to do something with this. So she came into our store. I helped her pick out her first tarot deck, and she picked up some stones. And I'm just like, this is what's happening. People are getting inspired to kind of move into this realm.
I've seen that too. I think dreams have really ramped up. Like, I feel like the people that aren't doing this, like, they're getting the dreams and the messages, and it's like that they're trying to reach out to more people. And
Mhm.
maybe it's the ones that are like supposed to be shining that light, but they haven't found it yet. And so they're
Mhm.
trying to like get them to see the light and just like open up and do more stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Char, are you getting also more clients and students who are already partway down the path, like not right at the beginning, but they've already started on their journey and they've already gotten to a certain point and then they come to you? Have you been finding that?
Yeah, it's kind of a variety of different levels, I would say, for sure.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, I've
And
been
I
getting
think,
more and more of those people. So I
yeah,
was
it's
wondering.
like they just kind of get to a point and they're like, now where do I go? And so they kind of jump in a little bit. Definitely, my friend Greg Buckin, who you guys know, we teach a paranormal class, and whoa, holy buckets, let me tell you. We also teach them how to tap into their intuition during this, and we have come across some extremely talented, intuitive people that had no clue that this was happening to them, and they just like all of a sudden they're like, what, why, how, what just happened in my head? They're just like,
Yeah.
okay. So, even going that route, it's reaching people and it's helping people find what they need to do. But, so I do so many different things and different things. And my whole thing is like the metaphysical and the paranormal, they're the same thing. I don't understand
Right.
why there's a difference.
Mhm.
And that
Yes.
we're trying to bridge that gap and show it is the same thing,
It
you know?
is.
So that brings up a very interesting question, because I have healers that won't touch the paranormal. And I actually had a healer, let's just go there, reach out to me and was very concerned when I started doing paranormal stuff. And I'm like,
Yeah.
what's the difference?
Yeah.
We're still talking to spirits.
Exactly. And even if you look
You
at
know?
the definition of like paranormal, it mentions psychics. I mean, we literally are in the definition of paranormal, and it totally boggles my mind when we watch things like the Long Island Medium, and it's beautiful and it's sweet and we're talking to loved ones, and then we watch a paranormal show and it's just horrible. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Mhm.
It's the same thing. We're reaching out to spirits. It's the same exact thing. And I personally, when I do mediumship readings for people that come into my space, and when I go to a haunted location, it's the exact same process. I don't
It
do
is, yeah.
anything different. That spirit is a spirit. That
Exactly.
spirit was a person. They
You-
may need help. They just want to be remembered. It's beautiful. The paranormal is beautiful.
I
And I
agree.
wish the world would see it that way.
Do you think that, like, again, TV has created this for us.
Absolutely. It's kind of a double-edged sword, kind of a little bit, because granted, because of the shows, it's become easier to talk about, and it's been
Right.
easier to do things with it. It has some good sides to it, but some of the stuff where it's just always evil, evil, evil kind of takes away from it and presents a whole nother side. So it's done some good on some ways, and it's done some not so good on the other ways, but it's also helped psychics be more acceptable, and so it's done some good stuff, but at the same time it's done some crazy stuff. It's Hollywood.
Yeah, it is Hollywood.
Yeah, I'm seeing some being kind of in that arena now. I'm seeing more and more people who are going, we're not going that route anymore. We're not
Yeah.
going to sensationalize anymore. We're going to tell it like it is. We're not going to fake stuff to scare people. We're not going to just focus on the scary things that happen. And a lot of times the scary things aren't even really scary. They startle you, but they're not frightening.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So being more honest about what an investigation is, and when we're talking to those who are out there in it, because I've resisted going down that road because I won't do that. I won't sensationalize.
Yeah.
Right. And that's just the whole thing about investigating is it's all about intention. What's your intention on doing this? And me and Greg go in with our intentions of we're going in to help. We're going in to communicate. Sometimes they just want to be remembered. They feel forgotten. And some of these spirits that need to cross over you think way back to the early 1900s, you did the simplest thing, like steal a loaf of bread. That was like the worst crime possible. And religion was really, really at its height, where now they feel like they can't cross because they're going to be judged for stealing that loaf of bread.
Yeah.
Right.
And so they just need help. They don't know what to do, and they need a place to go. They need to go to the other side. They're stuck, and that's beautiful. That's a beautiful thing to be able to help a spirit do that.
I agree.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think one of our jobs, though, too, as we're working with people and clients and whatnot, is to do that on this end and say, don't feel guilty about that. Do your shadow work, feel good about yourself, and work through your fears, guilt, and regrets, so that when you get to that point, you have no trouble passing through.
Absolutely.
I think that's part of our job as light workers, is to teach people you're perfect just the way you are. There's no reason to feel like you need to stay behind or you're not worthy or anything like that. And I think that's a message, and trying to get that out to people in the flesh. And I think a lot of times that's kind of looked down upon, because a lot of what religion does is try to hold people in a place of fear and guilt so that they don't feel worthy. And not all religion, but I'm just saying there's some that kind of make people keep them pigeonholed in that place so they can be controlled. And it's kind of threatening for us to come through and say, hey, you're loved no matter what. Come on through. I mean, that's kind of what Jesus was all about, was he not? And it's just kind of like training them while they're still alive, so that when they pass over,
She wants to ask a question.
it's an easy transition.
Absolutely.
We have, is there anything up above it?
There
it is. Well, she says you two are so damn cute.
Yeah, well, Casey had put in the comments question with 3 question marks. So I'm thinking she wants to ask a question, or she did and we didn't get there, but we don't see a question. So maybe she hasn't asked it yet.
Casey, go ahead.
Go ahead,
Re-ask it.
Casey. Ask your question.
Yeah. So anyways, while she's doing that, so I know a little bit about Char. I mean, how does this work in your, how does your wife feel about this? How other shall I say this,
Oh my goodness. So I've known her for like 12 years, I think, and we were just friends for the longest time. And she was so skeptical. She's like, it's all bull, it's nothing, it doesn't exist, whatever. I'm like, fine, come with me on an investigation. Stuff happened. She's like, oh, I can explain all that. So she was so far on the skeptic side. And then years later, when we started dating, she would come to my galleries and she's like, oh, what the heck? She got really excited about it and she started thinking things. And last night we were watching The Masked Singer, and she's like, the girl's blonde. And I'm underneath there. And I'm like, how do you know? And she's like, I just know. It just popped in my head. And I'm like, ooh, look at you. She's gone from complete psychic to starting to have this little intuition popping out. And it's just so fun to watch her little eyes light up and go, oh, I know that. And I'm like, you do.
That's beautiful.
So it's been a lot of fun. It's good. It's good. She's so supportive. I mean, so extremely supportive. So I love that. And she always has been. Even when she didn't believe it, she was super supportive.
That's beautiful. Yeah. Good morning, Rebecca. Yeah.
Rebecca was in my basics class.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Welcome back to the show. Wonderful. So, Char, when you're teaching people and having your classes, do you see your students then going out and putting up their own shingle and starting to do their own readings, their own whatnot?
Some of them have, and some are just want to learn. They just want to know. Some of them are kind of I'd say closet intuitives, where they don't even tell their family, but they feel it's a safe place to come to learn and to have a space. So, but some of them, I feel like a lot of them are more, it's just self-reassuring, it's just like confirmation and validation that this is a thing within them. So, and it whatever anybody gets out of it, it just makes me happy to see them smile and like, oh my gosh, finally this makes sense. I hear that a lot. So, however they use it is great, and I'm always supportive. I have some that have gone on to do stuff, and I'm so excited for them. And I always tell them you can come practice with me if you want to. So I'm always open to helping my students. That I've had some amazing people come through. So, and then with the paranormal, I mean, there's been a few of them that are like, I'm going to start doing readings. I can do this. I'm like, yes, you can. So it's been really fun. So yeah.
Okay. So when people want to get a hold of you, they can just go onto your website, or is there any other special way?
They can go to the website, www.charvinity.com, or they can go to Facebook, send me a message. Otherwise, you can email me at char.savoie@charvinity.com as well. Or at Charvinity, yeah. I think that's right, yeah.
Before we let
Right.
Char go, there's a question for her there from Mary. It says, when there is a missing person on the news, do you try and locate them?
Oh, that's a good question. I have a really hard line about permission. So if something just magically pops in there, I'll be like, oh, okay. But I don't tap into people without permission. I don't do readings for people without permission. I don't do healings without permission. So if somebody hasn't asked me to do it specifically, I don't usually. Sometimes I get stuff and I'll call somebody and I'm like, sorry, I got this. It feels like I have to tell them something, but normally I don't. I try to shut it off, especially with the empath part of me. It would just be super overwhelming. And I don't really watch the news anyways.
Yeah.
Right.
That's a good thing.
Yeah.
Because we have a friend back in Eau Claire who's working with the police department looking for a missing person. And she draws Danny in every once in a while to help.
I did have somebody reach out to me about a missing person specifically that they knew, and I did help a little bit with that. I didn't get everything, but I did get a few hits on a few things that made sense once the case was solved. But I didn't get, they're right here. I didn't go right into it, but so I don't usually do those, but it would be fun to do more if the police wanted me to, but
yeah, that would be cool.
Yeah.
So
all right. So we're at the top of the hour here, and we really want to thank you for being on the show. Very much a blessing that you could do this for us.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much. And,
thank you.
And if any of the audience members are interested, please go to charvinity.com to research a little bit further. So have a great rest of your day, and we're going to take a little break and welcome Melissa onto the show.
All right. Thank you.
Bye.
The Body Code is a revolutionary method of energetic healing developed by Dr. Bradley Nelson, which allows us to quickly and easily identify specific imbalances that seem to underline chronic ill health, acute and chronic pain, and discomfort, dysfunction, and stress. Ellie energetically connects with the subconscious of the client. Psychic medium Ellie Weisensell is a medical intuitive and energy healer and a certified body code practitioner. She identifies and clears energetic imbalances within the body and energy field. Contact Ellie at the website below, and Ellie can work remotely from a distance, by phone, online, video chat. There's no need to travel to an office. Remember, the Body Code is safe for humans and animals. Contact Ellie today.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Soul and Synergy Radio, and welcome back to Terry, who is our host of the show here on WLTK-DB Talk Radio. Our next guest, Melissa, is joining us to talk about her business called Lighting the Fire, Empowerment and Life Coaching. Really a positive type of service to provide. She's going to talk to us a little bit about herself, her path, her business, and anything else that pops up. And I think that she's kind of delving into some new things that she may want to discuss. So, Melissa, let's welcome her to the show. Hello.
Hey, Melissa.
Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you doing?
I'm sleeping now, so I had to get up a little early, but I was very excited to be here, so I appreciate the opportunity.
Yes, thank you for joining us. I was kind of reviewing your website and your information, and of course, you're well known to all of us, and just thought it'd be a great opportunity for you to come on and talk a little bit about yourself, to tell our audience and talk about the work that you do. So why don't you introduce yourself to the audience and tell them a little bit about you?
Yes, thank you. So I am Melissa Ray Cole Carpenter. I actually started my business before my soulmate and I got engaged. So otherwise I would have just had this fluid transition into Melissa Ray Carpenter. But I'm rocking my maiden name with it since that's what I started. But yeah, so I am from Kansas, grew up there, and then spent 11 years in the Black Hills of South Dakota. That's like my home. Back home is Kansas, and now my husband and I had moved up here to Chippewa Falls, Wisconsin, and to be closer to his mom and aunt, and just the wonderful people up here. And we've been up here for about it'll be a year in July, and we've absolutely loved it. And so when we got up here, I used to do, so I started my business back in Kansas. And so I wanted to get my name and stuff out up here, and got involved with your guys's, like metaphysical fairs, and just getting my name out that way. And then like in a few other areas too. And so it's been really exciting. So my background is, so I have my master's in clinical mental health counseling. And I've been on the road to getting licensed, not there yet. Moving doesn't help. So I still wanted to reach people because I've been a therapist. I've been a counselor for a few years. It's just the licensing part is just the next thing to come along, because then you can bill insurance and all that, whatever stuff. But I still wanted to get out there sooner, because it's not all about that. And when I traveled so I lived in Thailand for 5 months as another part of my journey. I taught English as a second language up there, and absolutely loved it. Had an amazing just journey, a new path. Like everything was opening up over there. And one thing that came of it towards the end was ran into this guy who gave me the idea he's like, you don't have to be licensed. You can still do what you want to do and be a life coach. He's like, you have the education, you have the experience. Why don't you explore something like that? And so it took me about a year, kind of thinking about it. And so then I finally ended up pulling the trigger and doing that. And so that's where then I'm trying to think like, like, what am I going to call it? And I have been told throughout my life that when you have conversations with me, like I'm easy to talk to, and there's just like this energy about me and people feel comfortable. And I've also heard you excuse my French, but you lit the fire under my ass. Now I'm going to go do whatever. And so that's where lighting the fire came in. And so I am lighting the fire, empowerment and life coaching. I have worked with so many different populations. I've worked with kids that have been sent to a correctional facility, veterans. I currently work with kids as well. Those who have like physical and or mental disabilities. And I absolutely love it. I've also worked with doing individual counseling. I've worked with individuals with disabilities, and it has all prepared me for this. And so it's been an exciting journey. I absolutely love the people that I meet. And one way that is like very important to me is, like I said, to get out there, which is why I've done these fairs. And so I've then incorporated like tarot and oracle cards. But a lot of it is just, if somebody wants to come and like, oh, like, I don't know what I want to do, but I feel like, I need some sort of coaching or whatnot. Or maybe they already have an idea of like, oh, I need help getting out of this job, or I'm in this terrible relationship, but like, I don't know what to do because it's, my means of survival. Whatever it is, it all starts with a conversation. And so I offer like a free 1-hour session just to kind of get all of it out and find out, like, do we vibe? Can I even help you? Because like, I'll be completely honest. Like I said, I have my master's in clinical mental health counseling, but like, I don't know anything about medications. Well, I mean, not like, I'm not a psychiatrist. I don't prescribe things. So I don't know about medications. There's different modes of therapy that I'm not skilled in, like EMDR and neurofeedback and all this stuff. But like within the conversation, we can find out like, oh, hey, like, oh, I can help you with this, or I'm not familiar with that, but I think we can learn together. So we can go that route. Or, this is something specific that you want to know and I don't, so then I can help, give resources and refer out to people. And so it's very important for me to stay within that like scope of practice that I have and my knowledge. And so then the fun starts. Like if it's like, oh yes, this is a good fit. I really think we can go somewhere. That first session kind of lays the groundwork, and then the fun begins, because it doesn't have to be difficult, especially when you're dealing with anything that you want help on, whether it is therapeutic healing, or you need that coach to help you lose weight and know what to do, or whatever, or getting out of the relationship. We can make it fun. It doesn't have to be so hard. And I am there to light the fire under your ass to get you going. Baby you know what I mean? Like in a very kind and loving way. It's like, all right, like, let's go. Like I'll, and that's what we're there for. And that's what I love about being, a life coach and a therapist is, I love the opportunity that I can be myself. And so ideally, the ideal client will come and we'll mesh and then, we'll get to make some real good progress.
Nice.
I love that.
Yeah. Wonderful. What kind of personality type do you find that isn't congruent with what you're trying to do? I mean, is there a certain type of person that doesn't mesh well?
That is a good question. I will say this: when I first started grad school, one of the questions was basically that, like, is there a population or type of person that you don't mesh well with? And my initial response was people who have like an anger issue, because there are therapists that have like do anger management classes and things like that. I didn't think I could do that because of my history with relationships. I thought it would be a big trigger. But then when I was working at the jail, because I worked with inmates out of jail for a year and loved it, it was there that I learned I actually have this calming effect on people, and I wasn't triggered by it. And I mean, there were, of course, people can have outbursts and stuff between a cell door, and that's different than like in front of you, but I was around all of it. And at least in that case, I grew and I found that isn't a trigger for me. That isn't a population that I don't mesh well with. I actually do really well with them. As for, it is so an initial, someone who's very, very, very quiet can be kind of difficult. And I'm thinking about this because there were times specifically at the jail where someone would come in, they won't open up at all. Like they won't even say anything. Now, you do have to understand they're in on charges. They also don't know. They don't think they can trust anybody, which is understandable. So whatever they say, they're coming from that mindset of like, oh, this is going to get held against me or whatever. And so that people like that initially tend to be really difficult, especially obviously in that setting. And then kind of just in general, people who are shut off. That's just hard to tap into. But I will say eventually, sometimes, like, you just got to meet them where they're at. Maybe it's not always talking at them or whatnot. It's just hanging out. Because again, the setting makes a difference because at the jail it's different. But sometimes it's just hanging out with them going like, okay, like, I understand you don't want to talk. Just know that I'm here. And, we could just talk about something stupid, like it just makes me laugh, and I'm
even just
I'm
like
very
your energy.
So
and your energy is really, like you said, people are drawn to you. So even if you guys aren't talking at all, your energy is helping them, whether they know it or not. And then the layers are going to come off. And
Yeah. Sometimes just being present makes a difference.
Yes.
And holding space.
Holding space.
Because it's not, I know therapy is like seen as like talk therapy, but that's kind of an old idea. Yes, you have to talk to a point, but I've learned so many different just modalities of it's just movement, that can help versus talking. And movement and like art, again, not talking, starting that way, just creating that safe space, and then eventually get there. So it's with any, and I mean, let's be honest, like, especially with what I do, life coaching, people are coming to me. And so I don't actually really run into that very often that they're just like, I'm here, but I'm not going to say anything.
Right.
Right.
I think, we talk about, doing Reiki and doing healings and stuff. When you have clients that kind of the same difference and, because we kind of do life coaching stuff during sessions and stuff, but it's like, can you just acknowledge one thing I'm talking about? Just one thing. But they don't. They want to just lay there. So, that hour can be very calming and relaxing for them. For me, it's like, there goes ego again, stepping back and going, oh, what am I missing? Am I not doing this right? Yeah. So, but yeah. I don't know where I was going with that, but
yeah, I know. I'm on hiatus right now. I'm going from a master's in counseling through Stout, and kind of taking a little break from that right now. And one of the things that I've learned through the coursework is Carl Jung, and working with the shadow work and using tarot and all of that in practice. And what better way to when you're working with someone and the conversation gets stale, to pull a card and say, you grab the Tower card, let's say, and you say, well, tell me about a time when life fell apart for you and how you rebuilt yourself, and really helping use that as a modality to get them to talk about themselves and to really open up. That was one of the things I learned from the coursework I've taken so far. But yeah, I'm kind of on that same similar path, but just right now taking a little break from that. So I admire that, having someone who is a therapist being able to do that, and being a therapist and even licensed therapist in this arena is very advantageous because when you're in that type of a position, you can charge for Reiki as somatic therapy. And you can kind of go down that road and provide those types of services to people. So there's so many different things you can do. I've been learning with that type of education.
And that's what I'm so excited about, because I have, so like I said, not licensed and I'm seeking that. And that's a whole nother thing.
Yeah.
But that's what I love about the life coach title and being able to offer that, because then I'm not in that box, but I'm thankful that that therapeutic licensed box has expanded.
Mhm.
And so then it just depends on where you work. Do you open up your own practice, which is basically what I have with my life coaching business? But I was kind of against the whole, like, I mean, like, for me, I'm not an in office, let's sit in front of each other,
Right.
kind of setting. Like, I'm all
Mhm.
about, like, let's do some stretching. Well, really, I want to get outside. Like, if I can
Yeah.
meet someone in
Yeah.
person, because I do Zoom as well. I know that's a question that pops up. I do Zoom. And so, like, if you do live far away, then that's fine. Like, we'll have fun sitting like this, like we are. But in person, I'm all about, like, you're taking time out of your day and from work, and maybe it may or may not be paid. But the point is, you have this chunk of time, an hour and 30 minutes that you're going to go talk about your feelings and everything. And I'm like, it's a beautiful day outside. Let's just go outside. Let's go for a walk. Let's go for a hike, whatever the situation may be. Let's go shoot hoops, get you outside and active. It's not as, intimidating and intense. And then you get to enjoy that day and that time on a whole nother level. And I have found personally, and through, like, with other friends and stuff and people who have those types of therapies, that really can open up things in a whole nother way. Sitting here walking 5 minutes later, you're talking about, or going on a hike, and talking about the weather. And then it turns into, so I got in a fight with, my significant other the other night, or, I was really thinking about, whatever it is. And it's just beautiful when it all just kind of starts coming out. And sometimes, especially if you're holding space, I don't have to say anything. It's all just
Right.
part of the and that's beautiful.
And that's an excellent way of doing it, because as you're outside doing activities, the endorphins are going when you're doing the exercise. That makes it a happy experience for them to be open and all of that. So that's what they associate it with, because they have that happiness with all the activity, and it's just makes it much easier to talk. That makes a lot of sense.
It really does. I mean, I prefer that myself. That's kind of where a lot of it came from, was just like my own journey and what would I prefer, or, what did I like? What was I interested in? And that's my eventual goal. If that's what's still, if that's my life path, is to have kind of like a recreational therapy type practice, whether as a licensed therapist or, as a life coach. And you can be both, but it's really exciting just to kind of see. I'm at that point where it's like, oh, what's next? Like, I'm happy with where I'm at now, but I know there's a little bit more coming, and that's where I'm at. I'm open
Gotta
to
be careful what you ask for.
Right?
For
So
real.
we just want to acknowledge Shay. She says, good morning, life coach and a therapist sounds so helpful. So just want to acknowledge that she was with us this morning.
Yeah,
Awesome.
one of our listeners. So someone to get a hold of you would go to your website and all of that and kind of set up something. But where are you going to be as far as like the wellness fairs and whatnot in the near future? Do you have any plans on joining?
So I've been to a couple of your guys's. I'm going to be the one in Eau Claire. It's that last Saturday in April. I don't remember the date.
April 29th. Yep.
That's it. And so then I'm there with you. And then the next day I'm in Wisconsin Dells through Rooted Holistic. So it's going to be a quick turnaround. And then I'm not quite sure about the rest of the year yet, but I'm very excited. And it's just a fun spot to be able to pop in, say hi, maybe get a tarot or oracle card reading and just hang out.
Yeah. But some of the things I'm getting right now is, don't be surprised if, be with how open you are, you kind of move into the channeling mediumship arena with the kind of work that you're doing, and you're getting these messages and kind of giving out those messages to people. It's like, you may not realize you're doing it, but I think that's kind of the path, at least what I'm getting right now is where you're going to be heading. And that's something that will be something new and exciting for you as well. forgive me for sharing that, but I was just hearing that for you.
I'm glad you did. That's actually something I forgot to mention, that that's been kind of in the background during this journey, and it's gotten like a little bit stronger. I mean, I could give you examples of even just the last couple days. It's been very known, and I do offer that intuitive component whenever I meet with people, and it's just been kind of a snowball effect of different things that have been confirmed, and it does help. I love being able to give that gift and that opportunity to other people to take, as it is for them, and then they can do with it what they will. And so, yeah, I love that you mentioned that, because that's more validation and
yeah, I totally see it going down that way. And actually, this is rather timely. We have Rebecca here in the audience. She's saying, Jocelyn, my daughter got a reading from Melissa at the Best Western. She was amazing for my 17-year-old.
Oh yes, I remember her. Definitely. Yeah. I loved that.
Yes.
And I was just looking on your Facebook page, right, when Danny was talking about your, like, what he was seeing, and then you had mentioned Journey, and I saw that you shared this the song, and I was like reading the lyrics, and I'm like, this is it. No matter where it starts or where it ends, take the journey. Someday you'll make it back home again, and just like, take the journey.
Yeah. But it's kind of why we kind of titled this episode "Taking the Road Less Traveled," because it's like sometimes the easy way out isn't the right way to go. and I'm sure in your counseling sessions and your life coaching sessions, you kind of talk about that. It's kind of like you have to do the work. You have to do the work. So how do you inspire people to do the work? What's your trick?
One thing that I found to be very helpful is to ask people. The most basic question is like, when did you feel good? Like, when did you feel good in your soul? When did you feel happy? What was a time that was good for you? And bring them back to that moment, have them talk about it. And then like, okay, so either like what happened, or, what went differently, and like how could we get back to that? And then that's where the rest of the conversation comes in. And then it's all like, oh, but you mentioned this, and like, oh, well, you could totally do that. Like, what's stopping you? Let's make a plan. Like, let's figure it out. It's not that hard. Like, we can totally do it. And I know resources and stuff can sometimes be limited. Resources can be an issue, but there's just things you can go through to kind of get there. Maybe it may take a little longer. Maybe it's just thinking outside the box. Maybe you got to do a little bit of work, especially if like just a simple little thing like, oh, I want a new job. Have you talked to anybody about that? Have you applied anywhere?
Yeah.
Have you refreshed your resume lately? Yeah.
Exactly. It's not always going to drop in your lap,
Right.
You got to lay the seeds.
Yeah, we talk about giving it to the universe, and always seeing, but you still have to do the behind the scenes stuff, and and still do some of that work. But yeah,
exactly.
Now I know with my partner, I'm doing readings and whatnot. I get messages for myself as I'm doing readings and whatnot, and it's hard sometimes when you give a message to someone, but you see something in it for yourself to follow your own advice. So it's kind of like kind of poking at him, or him poking at me, going, why didn't you do that? I mean, do you kind of see that sometimes in yourself, where you give really great advice to someone and then you think to yourself, why am I not doing that?
Oh yeah. Yeah. Especially early on, just because I was like, when I first started doing like readings for other people more than just my friends. And I was also on the exploration path too, of like, well, this is something new. I'm open. And then I get these readings, and like, I do see little tidbits like for me too. And especially, and I mean, this kind of deviates from your question, but like, I'll something will come out of me, I'll say something, like we said, that like form of channeling that comes out. And it's like, man, like I wish I would have known that back when I was dealing with basically a similar situation.
Right.
And so, yeah, but then those are just little things that I plug away for like whenever it were to come up that may be helpful for someone else later too. and working with everybody else has been, it's just more information, more wisdom I gain, and then I can offer up more ideas to other people too. And it's a very special process.
Mm-hmm.
Do you ever find that that the interesting thing I get is when you get the repeat client, and it's the same message over and over and over, and they're not doing the work, and and you have to decide. And I mean, I've said to, I guess I'll just keep taking your money if you love me that much. I mean,
Yeah.
there are those hard ones that you feel guilty almost.
And that has come up. There was one gal that I worked with, and she'd been to a bunch of different therapists, and she's an older gal, probably she might have been in her 70s. I'm not quite sure, young 70s, but she's been through it all. She had a lot she was working on, talked to a lot of therapists, and she reached out to me because she's like, you're something different. You're someone different. And I realized throughout I think we met for like maybe 2 months or something. And it was kind of that situation where it's like, all right, like you're either dodging the question, you're not narrowing down what you want to do. Or when we do come up with it and touch on it, like you're not doing anything with it. And then she's getting frustrated. And it's like, well, I mean, I can only do so much. I'm here to light the fire. You have to continue it,
Right.
Yeah.
You have that knowledge now. Do you want to do anything with it? And if you don't, that's up to you. Maybe you're just not ready yet. And I wasn't the person to at least continue with her. Who knows if I did at least light the fire and she went somewhere else? I don't know. But that does happen. And I mean, we even explored different things because I was noticing that she was just kept getting blocked there. And it's like, well, okay, if you don't want to go there yet, we can, what about over here? And but then it just worked out where it's like, okay, well, this just isn't quite working out. And it was a good ending. It was really happy. We were great to get to meet with each other. But then she went to explore some other ideas, and I'm like, hey, like I think that's a great idea.
Yeah, one of the things I have learned through the coursework is that you have people that see you that subconsciously don't fix themselves because they like to be with you. So if they fix themselves, then they can't be with you anymore. So they purposefully or just subconsciously don't do various things because if they start doing them, then they lose you in their lives, kind of a thing. It's kind of an attachment issue. And I kind of see that sometimes in doing readings and whatnot as well. It's just something that you're aware of, that I know you like being with me, but you got to do the work.
And that is
there are some clients too that will go through the whole circuit of people looking for a different answer. Someone's going to give me a different answer, and nobody's giving them a different answer. They're still getting the same answer.
Yeah.
And eventually then they just move on to a different circuit looking for the answer they want that they're not getting.
Well, you'll see that. You'll see that at wellness fairs too.
Yeah.
I mean, I've had 4 readings today. Why?
Why?
Well, you spent $250, got the same answer from everybody. Wasn't 2 enough? But I tell this story. I think it was like one of our first shows, and maybe it wasn't even one of ours. It couldn't have been because I was doing Reiki at it. And this nurse came up. The traveling nurse is Danny.
Yeah.
So all 3 of them, they were traveling nurses, and they came to our show at Best Western. So it might have been one of ours, but whatever the case may be. And I was the last one they came to, and she said, well, that's interesting. I got the same message from all 3 of you.
Well, yeah.
Yes, sweetheart, because we all get our information from the same place.
Same place.
So,
exactly.
yeah.
Exactly.
So,
yeah.
ding, ding, ding.
Yeah.
Right.
You wanted confirmation. I'm happy to give you confirmation, but you're not getting a different answer because Spirit's going to give you the same answer no matter which channel.
They just don't like the answer sometimes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Right.
That's exactly it. They don't like the answer.
Yeah, I agree. I think
But
that's
I have
true.
to take responsibility. No, that can't be right.
Yeah. It's not my fault. Yeah.
Right.
So we're at the bottom of the hour, and we'd really like to thank you for joining us today. You're such a wonderful, dynamic individual, and I think if anybody in the audience wants to get a hold of you, they go through your website. That's the melissaraycole.com, and or look up Lighting the Fire on Facebook and reach out for this for Melissa to help you out with life coaching and empowerment and readings
and taking the road less traveled. You're
Yes.
helping, people along that journey. So thank you for moving up here.
Yes.
Oh my gosh,
definitely.
I absolutely love. Yeah, we've loved it. It's flown by in such
All
a
right.
good way.
Great. Well, we have Patty Q next after the break, so we can bring her on then. And in the meantime, thank you for coming on,
Thank
Melissa.
you, Melissa.
And,
Thank you, Melissa.
and I'm sure we'll see you soon.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Download the new station calendar and never miss another show. To get it is simple and free. Just visit WLTK-DB.com to download or tap the subscribe button on our mobile app. Once the file is in your downloads folder, just double-click it, authorize it to your calendar, and boom, you have every show listed. Not only does it list the shows, but also the links to watch them live. We would like to thank Danny Loosemore for developing this for us and hope you enjoy it as much as we do. Get yours now at WLTK-DB.com or just click subscribe on our mobile app. See you at the shows.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back.
Oh, you're missing someone.
I know it was her turn.
As we
Welcome
rotate.
back to Soul and Synergy Radio on WLTK-DB. We have our friend Patty Q waiting in the wings to answer some viewer questions if you have anything. So let's bring her out.
Hello.
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 Good
Hello.
morning, Patty. Turn your camera on. Is your camera
it?
on?
Yeah.
We can't see your face.
Oh. We have a little white circle.
Well,
Oh.
I want to share my face.
There you are.
Oh, yay.
Wonderful. So we were talking a little bit earlier in the show about you talking about the way of the water and that kind of a thing that you talked about in our last show last week. And I think maybe if we can get a little refresher on the concept behind that process.
Well, it's a very strong, fluid way of being. So when my husband and I were in Florida, I would walk the Gulf Beach, right? And I always thought the Atlantic side was so strong for me, but the Gulf just comes in so beautifully, and it reminds you who you are, reminds you about like what you love in life. It just kind of eases your mind, and it says, you know what, Patty, everything's going to be fine. And then it just started to just fill me up. And the cool thing about it was there was beings that were lining up for me when I would go on my walks, and they would talk to me. Then they would give me this fluid message that says, you have to share this with people, because that fluidity immediately erases like anything that we think we have to connect with, because it's just there. It's a part of you. And I think people forget that a lot of what we do is very natural.
Mm-hmm.
So you're not buying into something at the corner store. You're not, this is all very natural and built for us. And what it does is that, so like when I'm doing a reading, the energy will sit around us all, and it will just kind of give message to exactly what needs to be said in a really fast, thorough pace. And it's just a beautiful wave. It never stops. It's never harsh. It's not trying to blow you over. It's there for you, in addition to who you are, to help us. Because, and I think I was telling Danny and Terry this, but you know, everything is changing for people now, and especially for people who are aware. And with this fluidity message, it helps us without harsh, or without us having to think too hard about it. So you could be reading a group of 20 people. That fluidity would encircle everyone, and that fluidity is full of who we are. But it communicates through angelic lines. It communicates through spiritual beings that we're with. It's just like this thing that we've all been waiting for. It's that thing that, like, it just, when you leave it, you go, that was the coolest thing ever. I need more of it, and I want it. And so I kind of walk around with this fluidity stuff, because just having a conversation with someone and you're not reading them, they feel how easy it is to talk to you. So it's really amazing. And I think I shared it pretty well with Terry and Danny. They got kind of a snootful.
Yes. I just know we were talking about it earlier today, and I thought maybe the audience would appreciate kind of a little bit of that refresher. But we were talking to Char and asking her about her outlook for the year and whatnot. But I know that Spirit meets with you before any of these things happen, and just wondering, does Spirit have anything that you needed to share today on the show?
Yes. So even though there's a lot of techniques that psychic people who are there for the one reason to help people heal, even though the fluidity is really visually for us, it's also for people, your regular average Joes, because when things change for us, a lot of times it's not filled properly for the regular Joe to communicate well on their own. So this movement that's happening is not doing well for people who are just trying to make ends meet, who are living their life best they can. In fact, it's providing a real edge. So people who heal with fluidity motion, I think our clientele is really going to grow quickly because of this edge. And actually, that's probably the best, politest way I can explain it without scaring people out of their wits. But it's here, and it's moving people psychically, and they don't know what to do with it.
Mm-hmm.
That's here and coming.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I was just checking to see. So, guys, remember that if you have any questions, please put them in the comments.
Yeah. We got a lot of people in the audience today, so if you have any questions for Patty, please make sure to type it into the comments section, and she will be more than happy to provide that information to you. But in the meantime, are you at any shows or doing any showings in the area for your art or anything else?
I have one that I'm it's in June through the art tour that Pepin County is doing with a lot of area cities over there. So I will be located in Pepin, and it's going to be fun because I'll be in a yoga studio. Look at her, yay!
I grew up in Pepin.
I love Pepin, so nice. And yeah, I'll be selling my prints and kind of putting myself out there for people if they want readings and stuff. But my art is exploding with this fluidity and with what people are sitting with. So I find myself painting things that I haven't painted before because it's kind of all new for all of us. So the bright, brilliant colors that I use are going to start getting darker, not because people are feeling darker. Well, yeah, maybe, but there's a lot of power in silence, in silent darkness. If you just sit with your eyes closed and there's nothing around you, you can heal yourself with fluidity, and feel very healed.
Mhm.
And so my painting is pointing to these directions of darkness, and it's exciting. I don't have any to show you right now that are done. So, but when I do, I'll use this moment to say, look at this and say, what do you think? Because usually my art is not understood right away.
Mhm. I know sitting with it is something that you have to do. I know with mine in particular, I just got it kind of right away, but it's just a very unique experience to be in front of one of your paintings.
Yeah, they're quite large.
Yeah, definitely. Don't have any questions quite yet in the chat box, but have you? How do I want to say it? Something's
So,
coming.
hey, Danny.
Yeah.
So apparently somebody's having trouble getting in, but I want to give Patty this message.
Okay.
So this is from Jody Hemingway. She's on the road from North Dakota heading to Ashland and listening to our show on the road. So maybe she just can't do both, which is a good thing, Jody.
Yeah.
Right.
She said, "This is nuts, Terry. I was on the Gulf 2 weeks ago on a cruise, and what Patty is talking about right now, oh my God, I had such a similar experience on the cruise ship. I'll have to tell you all about the phenomenon when I get there." But
yeah. And part of it too was what I don't think I mentioned today was when I would get down to a certain point on the beach, I had to stop. And there was these beings that are very tall and not wide, but very powerful and strong. And there was usually 5 or 6. And they send a message, in less than a second, and you get the whole thing, but yet they want you to drink it in. They want you to understand more of what they're there for. There was children that came through that reminded me that, as a youthful person, kids really are way better at this than we are.
Mm-hmm.
And, you lose it as you grow, of course, but the message I was receiving was, be mindful of the little people. And I sat with that, like, what does that mean? Well, there's like various lengths to which a person or a spirit can be with you. And the message really kind of depicts their height, if you will. And so they were bringing in the newbies and they were teaching them. And then they started hanging out with me so that they can understand what I do and what I feel and how readings go. And then there was this one beautiful woman who said, I will always be with you during winter. Winter's kind of harsh, as I'm sure you guys know, psychically. And she's a very gracious being and she's gorgeous. And I didn't think that like I was worthy because she's like that, right? And she just calmly told me everything I needed to know and said when I have a harsh spot here in Wisconsin, because it's getting better now, of course, but winter can be hard on everybody. And she gave me the tools to help people with winter. So I thought that was cool.
That's awesome.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. It was kind of a spiritual awakening if you're not already awoke. But the meaning behind it was, she basically said, bring all your friends. Well, I know I can't bring everybody to the Gulf, but when she said it, it's like just to share the message. So that's what I'm going to do. And because it's, I think, exactly what everybody's looking for right now.
Mm-hmm.
So Mary Spindler cannot comment for some reason yet on YouTube. She's having some issues there, but she says a general reading would be great.
Beautiful. I lately, and not to bring this up, but lately I've been doing readings that are extending way past an hour, and I don't mean to, but there seems to be a lot that needs to be said. And the healing readings, like, the healing of the heart and the mind and the unexpected things. So it's a trend for me right now. So, and also people who are dealing with a lot of blockage that provides headaches and things. So they're very much a part of what I do.
Phoenix actually has a question. She says, my mother has been getting told she needs to do automatic writing, and the last couple of days, every time she picked up a pen or a clicky pencil, it would break or run out of ink. Is there a message with that? And if so, what is it?
Absolutely. Not today. It's basically saying not today. I mean, you can't force it. You can't insist on it. You have to wait till it's ready for you. But the art of allowing yourself to be patient is very healing, because you guys know you can't push yourself into something that isn't ready. It's not either going to speak or it's going to just toy with your emotions. Mm-hmm. So I would say for her, let it happen when it's supposed to happen. Find yourself a trigger, and when you realize that you're there, then do it. I find that I write a lot, and if someone were to read it, it doesn't make sense at all, but it makes sense to me, and it's only when I need to. So, just kind of sit on the floor and meditate, put a piece of paper in your lap and see how long it takes. Could be there for days.
Right.
I know one of the things that we talked about when we were last together that you said should be a topic for the radio show was how angel or how spirit isn't all lovey-dovey all the time.
Absolutely. And I wasn't really sure how to say that out loud, because I don't know if that would make someone offensive, like saying that out loud, but angel is very harsh. They want you to learn from each and every one of them. And oh, by the way, we're not waiting for you to get ready for this. Here you go, and see you later. And then you psychically and physically, emotionally have to find your way out of what they just gave you. And they really don't care that you're struggling, because that's where you learn it all. So they know perfectly well what they're doing. But in the time of our lives when we accept it, it's frustrating, and it would always make me mad. I would swear and cuss like none other, but they didn't care. They're not exactly fluffy appearance either. Maybe to someone who's trying to heal or sitting with their angel and stuff, but for people who really see within angel styles, it's amazing what they come as, because they want you to feel what it's like to be someone who is depressed, or they want you to understand what it feels like to be a loner, or obese, or very stick thin, or whatever it is they're trying to ask us to do. And that's really a part of what they want from us. They want us to be ready for any conversation that we're going to have for healing. And it makes sense. But they have their own agenda, and never, ever think you have it figured out, because you won't.
Right.
You won't.
But it can be so frustrating when I'm getting information and it can be snide, and they actually curse at you. They say the F word at you, and it's like, what the heck?
I know.
I love that about them.
What the heck is like, do we have your attention yet?
Right.
Yeah.
And
Exactly
they're
what
waiting for you. They're waiting for you to get over it. Just get over it.
Yeah.
They're very much a director of what we do, because they know we need it, and they're not here to make us happy. Really, they're not.
Yeah, and I think, and you talk about it this way, and we talk about it maybe in more softer ways. Maybe I'll say softer ways, when that's how we were taught. I mean,
Yeah.
we're taught that angels have the big wings and they're light and they're fluffy, and that's what church is all about, and that's what you're going to see. But when we start working in these other realms and stuff, I've seen things that Danny hollers at me. Was it last night or this morning? You never show me. You never talk to me about what you see.
That was last night.
That was last night. Yeah. And it's like,
Jimmy.
and I'm like, well, because sometimes I don't know, for one, and I just don't want to freak him out, because I see some pretty interesting things, and until I get clarity or understand it myself, how can I explain it?
Right. Right.
Yeah. So
And
I think I take it as whatever happens, happens. And, whether it be light and fluffy or dark and doomy, whatever the case may be, it's there
Yep.
for a reason. And what is that reason, or what is that lesson that I need to learn from this?
Yep, exactly. And also, I've been trying to relay this information when I'm supposed to, but when you have a balance of life and you feel a lot of negative placement on one side, and you're trying to stay positive and equal it out, Angel very much puts people in a way that makes them try to understand themselves on their own. So Angel purposely puts tests in our timeline to see if we can figure it out and try to balance ourselves soulfully on our own. And sometimes people just don't do that, and then the balance far outweighs anything that they can ever try to do on their own. So I don't know if there's just not enough of the angelic forces out there, but, sometimes it isn't fair. And sometimes you go, we all can help them. Yes. But it's amazing, though. You're supposed to learn this throughout this lifetime. Here you go. And see at the end of your life. And then you go, did you figure it out yet?
Yeah.
So it can be harsh. And I think that psychically people who do readings and healings really help balance people out in this regard. But then it's also with angelic help. So it's not like, they're going to, ditch us to the curb because we're talking this way. I hope not. But, they do want us to help people no matter what they've gotten.
Yeah. Well, and, we're all on our own journey.
Yep.
It's our own responsibility to heal ourselves. It's not nobody else's. And so it's the same situation. We're just using different words. And
right. And that's how we were built. I think you can all agree. Everybody is born into this life with the same mindset, but it's how we lead that life and all the choices we make that makes us very different. And along the way, Angel is there to see you at the beginning and during and the end. And it's like they say, so how was it? And you say, well, it was okay. I could do without this or without that. And then you take note and you live through all the stuff that you did. And then you live again. So they've got this figured out. Angelic forces have it way figured out. That's for sure.
I question that sometimes. But I'm a stubborn man. I put up with a lot of crap.
You're a minion.
No. No.
So Rebecca has a question. Feeling pushed to start a business, and I have so many ideas, but struggle which way to lean. Love
and thought.
Would love a thought on direction.
When you read the first part of that, it was business. Now is probably not a good time for that. I think you really need to sit with what kind of business and how you're going to exercise and move forward with that business. I don't think it's proper for you to think that you can start it immediately. There's some work that you still have to do. Sorry about that.
Okay, and then Diana talks about, I'm having a really hard time with some of the darker things I see, and I'm not understanding what I am supposed to be learning.
Yeah, a lot of times when you do and you are very aware of certain things, you see a movement or you feel something or you're aware of something, you are being tested in what kind of buttons are pushed to make you afraid, if that's proper to say. Mm-hmm. But to take hold of a psychic ability is to be patient and know that it's not always the first 10 million things you see that matter. But those 10 million things are actually forming and structuring your psychic mind's eye in your body to accommodate what you are seeing. And there's a lot of what I do is provide structure in a person's mind's eye to accommodate and to handle these things. It can be fearful though. So if people really start on their own with this kind of stuff, it can be very fearful because you don't know what you're seeing. You don't know why you're seeing it. And am I in danger? Is this like, what's up? And there's really no one in that room that you can ask outside of yourself because you're not made aware of it yet. So there's a lot of things that person really needs to work on before they can safely say, I'm okay with it. You know, because like I see things all the time, and a lot of times you're not, you know, you just walk by it, or it's part of who you are. Mm-hmm. But when you start out with it, that's hard. It's a hard lesson.
Yeah,
mm-hmm.
For sure.
Mm-hmm. Very much.
Oh, wow. We got 5 minutes left, Danny.
Holy crap. Where did the time go?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So are we getting anything or do you want to talk about the show tomorrow or give some announcements, Terry? Or we have the seance tonight. Yeah,
with Christina. Yep.
I'll be doing that tonight. Yep.
So, and then tomorrow we have, oh my gosh. So Diet will be doing our gallery tomorrow. Jody is back from North Dakota. She just texted and she's on her way here. We have, let me go around the room. So we have Sherry and Adam from Reiki Magic. Ellie is here again this year. Stephanie from Chat with Charlie is going to be here. We have CBD coming. We have some local vendors that are going to be here tomorrow. And of course, Danny's going to be doing tarot. Me and Angela is going to be running the store here.
I'll be doing readings.
And then Christina, we'll be doing
readings all day.
So I apologize. I didn't bring my list of vendors to this as usual, but yeah, we have a lot of stuff going on. And then, of course, always just, check our website. Our website has our calendar. There's links from the calendar over to the events, which I'm wondering, that would probably be the easiest way of doing things.
Hey, how about that?
Yes, but an interesting comment from Shell. Sometimes at almost 73 years after 73 years of knowing, I feel I am too old for this quote unquote shift. When you know that she was meaning without the F in shift. Yes, that's hilarious, Shell. Yeah, sometimes I'm too old for this stuff.
So is it truly, because Shell is really an amazing woman. She has gone through a lot in her years. She is one of my clients and one of my students. She's at 70. 3 years old, took her Reiki 1 class.
Nice.
So you're never too old to start the journey, hun.
Yep.
Never too old.
Taking that road less traveled.
Yeah.
It's long, nice road.
Yes. But we're all on it for a purpose.
Oh, absolutely.
And I have to keep telling myself they made me crazy, so I'm here for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
So that's got to be it.
We're all a little cray-cray.
Yeah, and that's
true.
A good way to be. So if you go on to the MetaPair Pro site, that's our promotion company for your events. Salone from Phoenix, Dragonock Readings will be there. Crystal, Natural Knowledge, she's doing Reiki and she has some beautiful artwork. Then we talked about Sherry and we talked about Ellie. In Good Spirits, Dawn will not be with us. She had to pull out. Lynetta Elders from Starseed Ascensions. Oh, Tarot with Tara. She's going to be here. Tara is such an interesting lady. We love her.
Yes.
Nix's Treasures, they are local. So Megan Swirtle will be here. There's Christina. Michelle Rissler. ideology. Is that correct?
Iridology.
Iridology. So yes,
Yeah,
I will be standing
irises.
in line with her to get my eyes read, so to speak. Yeah. So those are our guests for this weekend.
I need to see her.
Yeah.
That's going to be interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And,
So
Lee Warner is wishing us a happy St. Patrick's Day, and I would like to wish everybody a happy St. Patrick's Day. It's my grandmother Betty who has passed her birthday today. She was born on St. Patty's Day, so to kind of put a little honoring out there on the show for her. So, all right, it is noon, which means that we're at the end of our show. Thank you, Patty, for coming on and sharing your wisdom with everyone again. That's very, very much appreciated. We feel very blessed for that, and we'd like to thank all of our guests for being on the show today. Any famous last words? Anybody else?
Oh, I just want to say thank you to everybody that watches. We are so grateful for having all the friends and all the people in our life that help us keep going and doing what we're doing, and of course with Spirit that always gives us the stuff we need. So
Yeah. And can I put a plug in for my show?
Yes.
oh yeah, absolutely. Sorry.
8:00 Central, Monday nights, Be the Change. I have Kim Pomeroy coming on next week.
Awesome. Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you, everyone. And we'll be back again next Friday for our Soul and Synergy Radio.
Yay.
Beautiful.
Bye,
Thanks for letting
everyone.
us play.
Hi.
The truth is here and now on WLTK-DB Talk Radio at WLTK-DB.com.